Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Shacey Bender. I'm Cheyenne. And I'm Sierra, and welcome back to this week's video. In today's video, we wanted to revisit probably the most forgettable Disney Channel show of all time. What show we may be talking about, you may ask, even though it's already on the thumbnail and title? Well, I'm gonna tell you, Jonas. Yes, guys, we watched Jonas in the year 2022. Today we're gonna talk about, like, what was Jonas, what was good and bad about it, and kind of like, does it still hold up? Just a quick disclaimer for anybody who actually likes Jonas. We are going to be talking about and comparing the show Jonas to Big Time Rush for so many different reasons, which we will get into later. But, like, don't get mad, because obviously if you watch our channel, you know that we like Big Time Rush a lot. Oh. Here's Big Time Rush. There's a palm from Palm Sunday. Here's this picture.
It's like the best calendar I've ever seen.
And I know I had Big Time Rush bedding. I also had this Big Time Rush throw cover. James is probably one of the creepier ones. I thought he was supposed to be hot. There was an issue. You're like, oh, you're biased. It's like, I loved the Joe Bros as a child, and I still love the Joe Bros. See, like, that's how you know I'm an OG fan, because if I didn't watch that Hannah Montana episode with the Jonas Brothers in it, I wouldn't even be calling them the Joe Bros. Because of Robbie Ray. Yeah. I'm not biased. I like them both. Yes, I do like Big Time Rush more, but I appreciate the Jonas Brothers. And I also love Camp Rock. So, what even is Jonas? I'm gonna just read it straight from my notes, so I will be looking to the side for a bit. Jonas was a Disney Channel sitcom about the Jonas Brothers that came out in 2009, shortly after Big Time Rush that same year. Despite the success of the Jonas Brothers, the series was kind of a flop, and it did not do that well with audiences, like, at all. It was canceled after 2 seasons, which, if you know, like, how Disney Channel shows go, it's bad. Yeah, even the bad Disney Channel shows usually got at least 3 seasons. And for some examples, we have Shake It Up and Dog with a Blog. Now, I'm not saying that these shows are bad, I'm just saying that they didn't do as well with audiences as other shows at the time, so they didn't go for a 4th season like most of the other Disney Channel sitcoms that were more popular. Right. I mean, everyone likes to hate on Dog with a Blog, and I mean, Shake It Up, like, I don't know, Shake It Up was an okay show. Like, I do watch it, but, like, it's not the best. Like, yeah. Even Kevin Jonas, apparently he said that the show was just not good. There was a lot of issues at the time that has come to the surface in recent years about not only the Jonas Brothers on Disney Channel, but a lot of other Disney Channel stars as well, and it just kind of held them back from evolving as people and growing up because they had to pretend to be teenagers on TV. Like, I have never seen something that bad. Like, they were so old, like, especially Kevin. Like, the thing is, like, you think, like, Big Time Rush was bad. They were old, but they were, like, way too old when to be you watch teenagers. Jonas, it's like another level, because I'm pretty sure Nick was a teenager, and so was Joe, but Joe was like 18, 19, and then Kevin was in his 20s, I believe. Honestly, I have a little conspiracy theory. I'm honestly not really a conspiracy theorist, and I don't really care too much to make theories about things. Like, I'm not even saying this is true by any means, but I kind of speculate that the only reason they made Jonas was because Big Time Rush had success in just a short amount of time. And they did come out in the same year, and you're like, well, things get filmed months and months before they come out. But in this case, because it's Disney Channel, I'm not so sure about that, because some of Disney Channel's productions, such as High School Musical, were filmed in like a month. Disney Channel has been known to film things really, really quickly and get things done really, really cheaply. Now, I'm just saying, like, isn't Jonas, like, didn't it come out a few months after Big Time Rush? Which means that if they really wanted to, after finding out about Big Time Rush and being like, oh my gosh, we have our own band on our own network, let's make a show. They could have done it really quick within that time period. This could also be the reason why the show appears to be so low effort. And I'm not saying it's true. Do not hate me. Do not come after me if you're
a Jonas stan, and do not say that I am speaking facts. I am just saying that it could be true. I don't really know.
Because this would not be the only example of bands trying to make a TV show just because Big Time Rush did it. Even after Big Time Rush got so popular, it was speculated that One Direction was also going to have a TV show. I'm pretty sure that didn't end up happening.
I'm not even sure,
because
though.
I know, because it might have been like a more online thing. But yeah, like after the Big Time Rush craze, that type of like media, like bands having their own TV show, just all of a sudden kind of became popularized, and like everyone tried to jump on the bandwagon after that, but it obviously did not work out in their favor.
Well, actually, I think it really started with the Naked Brothers.
Yes,
but then
absolutely.
Big Time Rush really solidified the boy band TV show kind of thing.
Well, because Big Time Rush was good.
Yeah.
That's not love.
Then what is? Let's not talk about the Naked Brothers.
Yeah, that was not a good period in time. So we just kind of wanted to talk about our opinions on Jonas before we actually start doing some analysis on the actual show itself, just so like we get this out of the way, like how we actually feel about it, so people don't think that we're totally crapping on the show when we get to the nitty-gritty, because we do actually like this show. So like, let's get into how we feel about it. We never really watched this show growing up. We were more obsessed with Camp Rock when it comes to the Jonas Brothers, and we did have like some CDs and stuff like that, but it was more about like Camp Rock and their music. We didn't really watch Jonas. I do remember it a little bit, but like vaguely.
Yeah, we didn't really watch it that much. I was familiar with the songs from it though, like I knew the songs from Jonas, but I never really watched it that much because I didn't really care for the show growing up.
Yeah, it was nothing that we were really connected to, like we didn't like keep up with it, so we didn't even get to Jonas LA especially. Like I might have seen like the pilot or a few episodes, but there's no way we got to season 2. But people literally only refer to season 2 like it's a whole different show, because it basically is. Like when everyone talks about Jonas, they don't even talk about Jonas. They're like, so I've been watching Jonas LA, which is not even a show.
It's just like the second season. But anyway, we will get into that a little bit later in regards to the Jonas versus Jonas LA fiasco. I honestly forgot about Jonas until I started getting back into Disney Channel again a couple years ago, and since then I've watched most of the episodes, if not all of the episodes of the show, but it was all kind of a blur, so I kind of had to, rewatch a couple episodes and revisit it.
We'll probably get to this later, but the show isn't very memorable, if you will. Like, some things, like, I personally think are funny. I'm like, oh, remember when that happened? But, like, even, like, a general Disney Channel fan will probably not remember those moments. I remember them because I think that they're funny. There was nothing really from this show that was necessarily iconic, I guess.
I feel like a lot of it is just iconic to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, so many people recently, or in recent years, have been saying that this show is just so unbearably bad. But now that, like, so many years have passed since I was full on watching the show, we had to just give it a second chance and revisit it.
Because this is one of those shows where, I don't know if we talked about this before, but, like, our dad does not really like the shows that we watch, like, the content, but, like, he doesn't think it's that bad or, like, unbearable. But when we watched an episode of Jonas, he literally said, word for word, this is exactly what he said: why do you torture yourself?
Because he said, this show is so bad. So, like, that seems to be the general opinion of the show, including Kevin Jonas's opinion. But we wanted to rewatch Jonas to have a final conclusion as to whether the show was bad or not, or if it was really as bad as everyone was saying. By the way, most of this review, I guess you would call it, is about the first season of Jonas. The second season of Jonas is basically a different show called Jonas LA, but it's still Jonas, but it's almost like season 2 is a completely different show, and many people refer to it as almost like a spin-off, even though it's literally just the second season of the show.
Even though the whole show is literally Jonas, nobody talks about Jonas.
No one talks about the first season. Everyone always talks about Jonas LA. Because it has all of the same characters, but a completely different premise and title. It just doesn't make any sense.
But we did get a banger out of it. LA, LA, baby, she's a Still doesn't beat Live to Party, though.
No way.
Gotta live to party. We'll probably have to sing it later, so I'm not gonna, like, get too much into it. Let's talk about the characters of Jonas. So, of course, we have the Joe Bros, Joe, Kevin, and Nick, which, by the way, their last name is not Jonas, even though the show is called Jonas, and their band is called Jonas.
It's so weird. In the show, their last name is not Jonas, it's Lucas. And their whole entire backstory to their band literally makes no sense. I think it's because they live on Jonas Street, and that's
Are
why-
you kidding
Yes,
me? I didn't even know
No,
that.
they live on Jonas Street, and that's why they're like, oh my gosh, we gotta name our band Jonas. I swear that's why. I'm not even sure. We
What?
should have checked that before we made this video, but, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear that's the reason why that's their band name, and not because they're the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, like, I don't understand why they couldn't just have them be the Jonas Brothers, like, in
because
the
they
show.
wanted separation.
Like,
from
they're
real
not the
life.
Jonas Brothers, but yet their band is called Jonas. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about Joe, Kevin, and Nick. They're all basically the same character, to be honest. The only thing that I can really say that's, like, different about them is that, you know, like, Kevin's supposed to be the weird one, and Nick is supposed to be, I don't know, the loner, but that's not even true. He's just more quiet or serious than the other ones. Like,
what I have in our notes is Nick is a bit more shy or quiet than his other brothers, and he's kind of a hopeless romantic. But the thing is that they're all kind of the same, though. Like, they almost act as one being, the Joe Bros. They just really don't have much difference in personality in the show.
and I think that's because they don't have personality.
Yeah.
They just deliver the lines. And it's not the Jonas Brothers' fault, it's just the fact that they don't give them the room to, like, do anything. Like, it's just like, here's the line, say it. None of them have, like, any sort of catchphrases or, like, anything that's, like, iconic to their character. You just have to take it for what it is, I guess. Yeah. Ew. We already covered Nick. Let's move on to Kevin. Kevin is supposed to be the eccentric one, and I guess he's, you know, weird or more funny than the other characters, or they act that way, but I didn't really find him funny.
You know, they try to act like he's so funny and quirky and weird, but, like, I've never laughed at one of his jokes. Like, he's probably the least funny character on this whole entire show because they wrote his lines so bad. And Joe, I have nothing to say about him except for the fact that he is a jealous person.
Joe is probably the more bland, watered down version of Kevin and Nick combined.
Like, they're all the same, and these are just slight differences that we noticed throughout the show, because honestly, there really is no difference, but these are just tiny little things that we could try to pick out to try to differentiate between the brothers' personalities.
Yeah, because it's really a tell, not
show
show type of thing, because, you know, all the fans, like, because we'll get into, like, Macy later as a character, but she is a really big fan of the band Jonas. She literally is talking about what personality types they are all the time. Like, Nick is the silent one, and, like,
kind of like how Miley did
yes,
in the Jonas Brothers episode of Hannah Montana.
Maybe we could play it.
I'm Kevin,
the cute romantic one. You're Joe, the cute funny one. You're Nick, the cute sensitive one.
And I'm her daddy, the cute protective one.
Now, we're talking about my favorite character in the whole entire show, Stella Malone. She is a queen. She is probably the best character, hands down, out of the whole entire show. She basically saves the series for me. So basically her character, she's really into fashion, and she makes clothes for the Joe Bros. She's quite the perfectionist, which she gets judged for in the show quite often, and everyone's always acting like she's so uptight. I honestly relate to Stella, and that's probably why I like her character so much. She's the most sensible person out of the friend group, and she has a little situationship going on with Joe throughout the series. Now, the next character we have is Macy. I have so many mixed feelings and emotions towards Macy as a character, because I'll say, like, definitely before our little quick rewatch for this video, I could not stand Macy, and I thought that she was so annoying. But I
I don't mind her now. It's honestly weird, but let's get into like what she acts like and what she's like known for as a character. So start off, which is basically her whole personality, is that she is a Jonas Brothers stan. She loves Jonas the band. And it's just a really weird dynamic going on in the show because she knows the Jonas Brothers personally.
They go to school together. Yet she's so obsessive over them and she like is always talking about them 24/7, but they're literally in her reach, but she just never talks to them.
Yeah. Here's the even more crazy part is that she is best friends with Stella. And Stella is best friends with Joe.
And the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, and literally all the time makes clothes for the Jonas Brothers. So why would Macy not be able to just have a real relationship with the Jonas Brothers?
Take advantage of Stella, honestly.
She acts like they're so out of her reach and that there's such like a distant thing from her when she literally knows them. She acts like she's never met them in her life and is just going based off of what magazines say.
It's just
and
so
blogs
bizarre.
and like all this other things. It's just so weird. And she's even often like found stalking the Jonas Brothers in school. Because she's such a crazy fan, Stella tests different things with Macy for the Jonas Brothers. Like there's this whole episode about rip away clothing so they don't ruin their clothes
when fans try to scratch them and like try to take their clothes.
They use Macy and she literally rips Joe's clothes apart and they weren't the rip away clothes. So he ended up being like naked at school.
Who are you?
She runs a Jonas Brothers fan club. Her main crush is like Nick. I mean, she likes all three of them and is obsessed with them, but she mainly likes Nick. And as I said previously, that she is Stella's best friend. Yeah, that's really all we have to say. Take up that opportunity, girl.
To get close to the Joe Bros. And then we have some side characters like the Jonas Brothers' parents and their little brother Frankie. Yes, he makes an appearance in this show.
I was so annoyed when I found out that Frankie Jonas was in Jonas. He just, I hate little brother energy. That is the worst thing ever. I don't hate Frankie Jonas in real life,
but his character in the show is annoying as hell.
If you don't know, we took up making slideshows as a hobby, and we have a whole slide about him being annoying on the Jonas Brothers. No, not on the Jonas. About him being really annoying on Jonas the show. On our 70 Things We Can't Stand slideshow.
They aren't in the show that much, but they make appearances from time to time in the episodes. Like we said, Frankie's extremely annoying, and I get irritated every time I see him on screen.
He also kind of wants to be a Jonas Brother. Like, he wants to be in the band.
But they won't let him in the band. And we don't have much to say about the parents, except for the fact that their dad is the scientist from the Sweet Life movie.
Yeah, the scientist twin.
Do what you will with that information.
Eat the fruit, become your twin. The next topic, like moving on from the characters, the next thing we really need to dive into is the actual plot of the show and like
its depth.
Yeah, like, how deep does this show go? The first thing that I think that we need to just put out there is that this show does not feel connected.
Like, from episode to episode, it's just completely different. And there isn't, like, an end goal at all for the Jonas Brothers to reach with their band or anything that they're trying to overcome. There's no obstacles. There's just nothing. They're giving us nothing. There's no real plot to the show. Like, there's no end goal to get to.
Even a show like Victorious, for example, there's not really necessarily an end goal per se, but when you really think about it, technically there is. All the main characters are trying to make it in the music or acting industry for the most part and make it big, you know?
The lack of plot or the lack of an end goal with the show is really the show's downfall. It's like every single time I watch the show, I know that nothing important is going to happen whatsoever unless it's relationship-wise,
which doesn't really even happen until Jonas LA.
So there's literally no stakes every single episode. And this is why I think Big Time Rush did better and succeeded in this aspect, whereas Jonas didn't.
Especially with the first season of Big Time Rush, it's them trying to become a band. Remember Halfway There? This song, they're halfway there to becoming a real band, and then even like once they are a real band, they still face issues, and then the one whole season is basically about them trying to succeed on tour, which is a totally different obstacle. They kept different like challenges coming and different obstacles to tackle in the show.
Because Big Time Rush covered a lot. How they became a band, how they became famous, and really just all the struggles and hardships they had to go through to get to where they were. And it kept the audience wanting more every single episode.
Was the end goal worth it? Absolutely not, because remember how bad their last episode was with the mac and cheese hypnotist?
Okay, we do not need to talk about the finale of Big Time Rush. I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna get upset. But with Jonas, there was nothing like that in the show. There was just no hardships at all.
Yeah, if anything, they focus on the fact, like, we're famous, we have no issues besides dating, basically, and everyone acts like they're literal royalty, and they treat them better than everyone else because they're famous. They don't struggle at all. They're just doing random famous people stuff all the time.
It makes the show somewhat bland because there isn't, like, anything or anyone to root for whatsoever, unless it's relationship-wise again. There's nothing keeping you on the edge of your seat waiting to see what's gonna happen next.
Well, even something like Hannah Montana, where she is already famous right from the get-go, but she's still Miley, and she's humbled down. The Joe Bros are not humbled down really at all.
Season 2 is much better with this plot and depth issue, but that's because it's almost like a completely different show and premise. But again, like, we're not really gonna talk about season 2, but we will reference it every once in a while. But like what I was saying, it's basically a completely different show, and the premise is basically where they are adapting to the LA lifestyle, because in season 1, I'm pretty sure they live in New Jersey, and so then they're like, you know, adjusting to LA and dealing with their new relationships and career opportunities.
I mean, there wasn't even, like, I think anyway, about what I'm gonna say. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I'm pretty sure that in the first season there was no sort of concert or anything
I don't think
about
so.
them even being a band. Whereas in Jonas LA, they're having different career opportunities constantly. Joe is gonna film a movie, and they have a concert on the beach.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, with the plot and, like, the depth of the show, which is very shallow, it makes the show pretty much bland, because there's nothing really special about it. The next thing that we need to talk about are the songs. The songs are probably the best thing that even came out of this show. You show up to every single episode with the banger, live to party, you gotta live to party, bust your move, everybody's in the groove, tell the DJ to play our song, are you ready to rock and roll?
They have a good theme song, and it's honestly a weird intro where Stella sends out blue strips. I can't quite explain it unless you've seen it before. And then there's the song Keeping It Real, which is obviously about keeping it real while being famous, which they're always bringing up in the show, like how they keep it real, when they really don't. But anyway.
Then we have the song Pizza Girl. I fell in love with the pizza girl. Just, you know, so you know what I'm talking about. It's, like, in my opinion, Pizza Girl is kind of cringe, like, concept-wise. Like, ew, they kept ordering pizza to see this random girl. Like, y'all are heterosexual, leave. But it is iconic nonetheless. I would say that out of all the episodes of Jonas, that is probably one that people remember the most, especially because of the song. Like, who makes a song called Pizza Girl?
And our personal favorites are Tell Me Why and Lovesick.
Lovesick. I love the way that the Jonas Brothers sing that. It's, like, actually so good. It's definitely, like, it almost, like, it's, like, that's their roots. Like, the way that they sing that, oh, it's so good. And Tell Me Why ties into the episode so well, and it's definitely one that I love because it's, like, Stella and Joe relationship drama because he's jealous because
She's going on a date with another guy.
Yeah, and that's why he's like, tell me why does it make me mad, you know?
And that's Joe being a jealous person once again.
Yeah, and honestly, after watching that episode, which is episode 7, I think?
7 or 8.
Like, episodes, like, 7 through 9 are probably, like, the better episodes of season 1. Sorry our ring light is dying. You could definitely see the lighting change.
Yeah, we're looking orange.
But we can't do anything about that now. But I've never really liked any of the Joe Bros. And I mean, like, in the show. I'm not talking about in like, of the real life Jonas Brothers. But I have never been more attracted to Joe from Jonas in my life. So like watching those episodes, and I'm not a Joe girl. I never have been. You're the Joe girl. I always have been like, I like Nick, even since a child. Like Nick. You won't get it, but there's a childhood video of me doing that. But anyway, I think I need to put into action like a law that forces like every man on the planet to have the haircut that he did.
I love his haircut in Jonas. It's great. It's iconic. But I find that funny that you say that because I absolutely love episodes and TV shows when the guy is like extremely jealous. Like I happen love that.
Yo, you know what I need to watch after this? Like that Lab Rats episode where like, you know, like Spike and Adam and they're fighting each other over that girl. Love it. Love the drama. So I know that this is kind of random, but I love how Kevin says like everyone doesn't know us. They just know us from like what everyone said on the Hannah Montana episode, which is absolutely true. Because I liked Nick from the Hannah Montana episode.
When you were a child.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh, we look so red.
I know, I'm dying right now.
It's really hot in here. The next thing we definitely need to talk about is the comedy, which is also like another downfall of this show. Jonas is like watching a Dan Schneider sitcom on Nickelodeon without a laugh track. If you've never seen it, it is so awkward.
I know, I literally watched a scene from iCarly without a laugh track. And it was so awkward. I didn't laugh. I was like, what am I even watching? And it's not like iCarly isn't funny. It definitely is. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. But like for some reason when the laugh track is gone, everything's just so awkward. Like you need to fill the space.
Yeah, like you know Drake and Josh when like at the credits they play like a scene from the show, but like without the laugh track, I can't watch it. It is so
cringe.
awkward. Back to Jonas. It isn't necessarily that like what they wrote isn't funny. It just comes off as awkward because there's almost like no indication that it's supposed to be funny since no one else is laughing. Not even the characters in the show are laughing. And I'm not saying that you need to have a laugh track for
you
something
definitely
to be funny.
Because like Modern Family is a great example of a show. I know it's not Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, but hear me out. It's a show where it's so funny that like it doesn't even need a laugh track to survive because it's just so funny on its own, and the dead space makes it even more funny.
Well, it's because it's awkward on purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas this show is not. It's just filmed totally different from any other Disney Channel sitcom.
Yeah, there's no laugh tracks, and the camera is always really close up to the characters instead of it being like a wide shot like in the other sitcoms. And honestly, with the jokes, it's like 50-50 whether it's gonna be funny or not. It's like half the time it's funny, half the time it's not. It's really hit or miss.
It's almost like so much lost potential because like there was this joke that Kevin was saying where basically Nick couldn't write a song and so he was stressed out about it, and so he's like, please, I want everyone to stop talking about this song. And then Kevin kept talking about a song accidentally while pouring a cereal. He literally said, let me give you some song. Like, and it could have been funny. Like, I was even thinking, like, you know, hypothetically, this would be funny. But it's awkward, and it just, it's the show's fault.
And then I thought in my head, it would be so much funnier if Miley was saying this to her dad in Hannah Montana, because I just feel like the Jonas Brothers, they didn't care that much when they were doing the show, so they didn't even bother trying to make their acting good, because they're like, I literally don't care. Like, every sentence Nick says, he sounds so unenthused. Like, genuinely. He seems like, I just don't want to be here right now. And it's because they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be there.
Even the jokes that actually are kind of funny and are good jokes in the show, they're not really anything to actually, like, laugh out loud about. And I can just, like, recognize that it's funny in my head and move on. And usually the moments when they aren't trying to be funny are the most funny moments in the show. It's always really not funny when they try too hard. Especially because a lot of the stuff that I personally find funny in the show is just because it's the Jonas Brothers doing it. It's like, this is ridiculous, and it's like, I can't believe they're making the Jonas Brothers do this, or I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, they look so old to be doing this.
It's so funny seeing the Jonas Brothers go up and down firehouse poles in every single episode. It's honestly iconic because they live in a firehouse, basically. Like, that's what it used to be before they moved in. And so that's a thing in the show. The Jonas Brothers are just going up and down these fire poles, and it's so funny. We just took a quick break because we were overheating and we needed to charge our equipment. But anyway, we're back. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the couples and ships. We wanted to talk about this because a lot of people think that ships and relationships and couples are really a make or break thing for a show. And honestly, personally, I think they are as well. Because sometimes I find it really hard to watch a show if there isn't any relationship drama going on. If they don't have like a good plot already. And honestly, the relationships do kind of save the show.
Yeah, especially because there's not much going on besides that. But the thing is, they don't even touch on that often.
I know.
So, I guess the first couple we should talk about is the main couple of the show, which is Joe and Stella.
You're weird.
But in a cute way, right?
Barely.
They are really the only stable ship in the show that's consistent, and it started in the very beginning in season 1 and went on also in season 2.
They definitely explore their relationship more in Jonas LA or season 2, whatever you want to refer to it as, but there's still a lot of ship content specifically in season 1, because season 1 is basically the basis of their relationship where, you know, like, they want to date and they want to get together, but they also don't want to ruin their friendship too.
And also, it's like, even though they are best friends, their relationship has also become a business transaction because she makes the clothes for the band and is their fashion designer. So it's like, even though they're best friends, it's like they don't know if they should get into a relationship or not, since like their relationship is also kind of formal in a way.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird power dynamic. It almost feels like Joe has power over her.
Yeah, kind of scary. Honestly, this relationship is one of the really good things about the show, and was one of the reasons why I even kept watching in the first place when I originally watched the show a couple of years ago. Their relationship was pretty dramatic at times, but that's what made their relationship interesting.
Like, probably the most dramatic moment of all time, and when I say this, like, when this comes out of my mouth, if you have never seen it before, and even if you have seen it before, you're gonna be like, that is so cheesy. So, in Jonas LA, Joe ran after Stella to find her at the airport to stop her from leaving LA.
You belong with me.
Nothing that you can say is gonna change it.
I love you!
What?
And obviously, I mean, think about even how much Big Time Rush dramatized that with, like,
I know when
worldwide
Joe was leaving and, you know, the, like, goodbye kiss thing. I think it was better done in Big Time Rush.
Oh, it doesn't even matter, though, because, like,
Yeah.
this is still an iconic moment that everyone looks back at. But I would imagine that if you've never seen the show before, you would be like, oh my gosh, ew.
Because Stella's like, I don't know what to do. I don't feel like I belong here, and I don't feel like I belong in New Jersey. Where do I go? And then they kiss at the airport, and everyone starts cheering. It's kind of awkward. But also iconic. Love it.
The only other thing to really say about their relationship is that Joe often gets jealous when Stella is with other guys in season 1. Like we talked about,
He's a very jealous person.
Yeah, and he ruined the clothes. I'm not even gonna talk about it. Just watch the show.
And really, the whole basis of their relationship is season 1 is just them getting jealous that they're with other people. Next couple is Nick and Macy. This relationship doesn't really happen until season 2, but we figured that we should mention it anyway, since they are a long-lasting couple. Well, obviously besides Joe and Stella. I don't mind their relationship. They're kind of a fun ship, though.
I'll let you talk about your opinions first. Because I have some things to say about it.
Okay. They are kind of a fun ship, though, because of the fact that they have to keep their relationship a secret for a certain amount of time. And we just love that kind of drama, you know? It is an odd relationship, though, because Macy was just such a big stan of the Joe Bros. She just has such a crazy obsession with them. And they don't really develop their relationship from going from, oh my gosh, I'm a crazy stalker stan, to I realized that what I did was wrong and now we're friends. You know what I mean?
They don't have that kind of moment.
Because she never has, like, an epiphany being like, you know what, he's a real person, and he's not just a celebrity that I am obsessed with, you know? Like, it would have been nice to see that natural progression of her going from crazy, obsessive stalker fan to friend, and then later more, but we didn't really get to see that. So that's their downfall.
My opinion on this relationship, it sucks. It is obviously the worst ship of the show. The first time I watched the show, I can't tell you how unbelievably mad I was at it, especially because I hated Macy with a burning passion. I was just just like, you know, she does not deserve this. Like, imagine you literally
Stalk somebody.
stalk somebody. She even has admitted that she, you know, will like go up to them and like try to rip their clothing and things like that. That's why that episode needed to happen, like that I referenced earlier.
Just so she can have a piece of it, because it's the Jonas Brothers clothes.
She literally, because the whole thing is that, you know, she's making the clothing because the fans do that when she's the reason that it's happening. She is the one ripping their clothes and leaving them naked. Imagine being that way and then getting what you want.
Which is dating Nick Jonas. Like, that's so not right.
And they act like it's okay because Macy is still a good person, but she didn't treat them okay. That's just like, okay, and I know that this is like kind of stupid, but the only thing I can think of that is like a real life situation was when that girl threw a shoe at Harry Styles on the stage and he got hit with the shoe. And he was like, why would somebody try to throw a shoe at us? And afterwards she wanted to apologize and meet One Direction personally. It's like, you're a fan. If you're going to meet them, you want to meet them because it's One Direction, it's your favorite band. You don't want to actually apologize, because if you actually felt bad, you wouldn't have thrown a shoe up on the stage to hit him in the face.
Yeah, so I have a love-hate relationship with them. They're kind of fun and interesting, but at the same time, it's kind of weird and kind of wrong.
I also feel like Nick deserved better than just a crazed fan, especially because he goes through a lot of issues when it comes to relationships. He can't find anybody that likes him for some reason, and they always mention in the show that he falls too fast.
So, Kevin never really gets a love interest at all in the show, which is pretty disappointing. He's just kind of the forgotten Joe bro. You know, I feel like they didn't put in the effort into giving him a love interest because the other main relationships were just taking up so much space in the show.
Also, again, he's just supposed to be the eccentric, like, weird character. It's just kind of like Carlos from Big Time Rush. They don't even care enough to give them
A proper relationship.
Yeah, it's just not fair. Justice for Kevin and Carlos. They deserve more. Just in general, Kevin deserved more. When you think of the Jonas Brothers, everyone always thinks of Joe and Nick. Can we please get some respect for Kevin? Kevin's my favorite Joe bro. In real life, I mean. He's the only Jonas brother I follow on Instagram.
I don't follow the other two.
Everyone needs to get with the program and start standing Kevin Jonas.
They had him date a foreign girl in one episode, but that was all we ever really got to see of his very short-lived love life.
And it sucks because, you know, of course on kids' TV shows, they act like foreigners are dumb and weird and don't understand things. They were like, that's the only way we would get a girl to like Kevin.
Because he's dumb and
weird
he doesn't
and
understand anything.
Yeah, like, that's so messed up. That is so messed up. As of, like, any other ships in the show, there really isn't much. The Joe Bros have had a few crushes throughout the show's run that never really turned into relationships. For example, Nick had a crush on this girl named Penny in the first episode in the pilot of the show. He wrote a song for her, but she didn't like him back. And obviously there's the pizza girl that all of the brothers had a crush on and tried to get with.
Then also there's the other girl, Angelina, that Joe had a crush on.
That played the
that
cello.
one episode, yeah. But that was pretty much it. They're not even really that important. There really isn't much ship content there other than the main relationships that already exist. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that ship Macy and Stella or something like that, but, like, there's no ship content, no ship potential necessarily.
Yeah, like, every time we talk about, like, ships from a show, it's not like we're covering all the bases, we're just talking about relationships that they explored. One thing that I think really messes up this show more than anything else, because this is what could have kept people into the show, was its uniqueness and interest. Every single show has its own quirks and something special about it that makes the show what it is when it comes to, like, music that plays in the background, sound effects, their intro, just special things that exist in that world of the show. And I can't really think of anything that makes Jonas special
Or stand out.
Yeah, besides the fact that the show is different in the way that it's set up compared to other Disney Channel sitcoms. It's filmed more like a drama. It kind of, you know what it's filmed like?
Kind of like Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, but what I was really gonna say is that it's really filmed like other foreign Disney Channel shows. Shows that aren't in the United States. Like
The
Violetta.
Lodge.
Yeah, like The Lodge or Violetta. It really is filmed that way.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, other Disney Channel shows have a laugh track, whereas this show doesn't. And the show is just kind of bland in general. There's nothing that's too special about it besides the fact that it's about the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
I think that that is actually the only thing that makes it worth watching. But as we already stated, they don't make the Jonas Brothers that unique compared to each other, which really sucks because, like, you have the Jonas Brothers.
I know.
Like,
so
that
much
is so-
potential.
But all that potential just gets lost because there's nothing really unique or quirky about this show.
Now, we finally reached the end. Our final verdict on Jonas. Completely unbiased. And we're giving you exactly how we feel about it. Because I have my opinion, and then I have also my general feelings about a show, which can be completely different. I can have my own personal opinion thinking that, I like a show. But then I can also recognize that it's bad. So, we're just gonna get into it. We do not hate Jonas by any means. And we even really enjoy a few episodes of the show, and we watch it every now and then. But the show just isn't all that interesting.
Like, I don't think that I could do a binge of this show, and if I did, I would probably have to do other things while watching it. Like, the other day when we were watching episodes, I honestly was just playing a video game on my computer instead, because I just felt like, I'm not gonna miss anything. Like, nothing that interesting is going to happen while watching. But overall, the show really did have potential. Like, it really does suck. Jonas could have been so much more. It just ended up being really cheesy and bland. The show needs some salt and pepper, a little spice.
I think the show is fun to watch sometimes because it's very meme-worthy, personally, to me as a Disney Channel fan. And also, like, it's the Jonas Brothers. I don't know why, anytime I see just even a picture of the Jonas Brothers, I laugh. Like, I'm not even making fun of them or anything, it's just seeing the Jonas Brothers is just funny to me.
Yeah, it's like, who doesn't want to see Nick Jonas land in a bucket of spackle after dropping from a fireball?
Grab it. 1, 2, 3. All the fun stuff happens to you.
That lives
I
in
do-
my mind rent-free.
Yeah. Like, I know I like this show, not nearly as much as I like other Disney Channel sitcoms, but I can recognize it's just not that great. I mean, if you like Camp Rock, or you just like the Jonas Brothers, or just campy kind of shows or movies, you might get a kick out of it. You might enjoy it. Just keep in mind that the show isn't very amazing or anything like that, and is,
When you boil it down, it's just ultimately a cringy show made for kids from 2009.
I also hate to compare this show to Big Time Rush so much. I feel like in this video we've refrained from doing it, but we have done it quite a bit, and in real life I compare it to Big Time Rush a lot.
If it seemed like you refrained from it, you should have seen our notes.
Because I don't want to compare the two so much, but it's so hard not to. Not only because I'm a Rusher, I'm a BTR stan, but they're both shows about boy bands that came out in the same year, a couple months apart from each other. And Big Time Rush was just better than Jonas. But that's okay. Jonas just has to be Jonas. It doesn't have to be Big Time Rush. Or even as good as Big Time Rush.
But it's still important to compare the two just because of how similar the premises are, and you almost see where Jonas went wrong
Compared to Big Time Rush.
Yeah, and where the lost potential was.
That's our final thoughts on Jonas. So let us know what your opinions are on this show in the comments. Let us know, like, did you even, like, watch it really growing up? Did you not?
Do you like it? Do you hardcore stan Jonas? And if you do, tell us your favorite Jonas moment. Like I said, mine's the spackle bucket foot. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe. Go check out our gaming channel. I'll link to that in the description.
God bless you. Jesus loves you. Have an amazing day. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.